exactly 30 minutes to the top of the hour. A very good morning. My name is Priva Elibaz, and this is Sunrise at Sea. In studio, I'm joined by the ladies, that is Ayo Wase, Shivan Auma, and Apollo Sarah. And today we're going to be looking at radical acceptance. When has it ever occurred to you that maybe something that you're going through is as a result of you not just accepting that you cannot fix some things or you cannot change the course of, how things are flowing in your life? I'm sure you have asked yourself this one question at one point in life, like, why me? Why is this happening to me? Because, we have to admit it, in life, emotions like grief and disappointment are very much normal, but when you don't quickly accept the fact that this is not going to work out for me, let me find an alternative to, just like live my life minus, prolonging my pain and suffering, you're definitely going to, be confronted by so many different things in life. So joining me, like I mentioned earlier on, are the ladies. And yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Thank you.
I feel like, you're very, very happy today.
Oh, are we?
Yes.
I am.
Earlier on, Sarah said, like, she's super, super happy today. She's very happy today. But we're happy to have you back after a while. We're still looking at the conversation we're carrying today. Radical acceptance, basically, the concept of radical acceptance has its origins in the dialectical behavior therapy proposed by psychologist Marsha Laneham, I beg your pardon, and that was in 1993. Now, it was designed to help those, diagnosed with borderline personality disorder who experience intense emotions, and it's also helpful for other issues, such as depression and eating disorders, and so much more. So the very first question I'm going to pose to you ladies is, has radical acceptance been something that you've ever used in your life? Has it helped you, or do you actually believe, no, for me to accept that things are going the way they're going, I'm not going to fix them, I just maybe have to forgive someone or myself somewhere along the way?
Well, the concept of radical acceptance is basically to not turn your pain into suffering.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you're learning to live with it. And also when it comes to radical acceptance, I'll give examples. Okay, let's not talk about mental disorders, but let's talk about something that everybody has experienced or experience some type of it. That is loss of a loved one, loss of a job, or loss of a lover. You break up with somebody you're madly in love with, and then you're now in a place where you are feeling so much pain, but you don't want it to continue. Have you seen that meme that says that you have never suffered a breakup until you've asked God to stop the pain?
Oh yeah.
You
Everyone
you
is
get
smiling,
it.
like everyone has
Yes.
ever experienced that pain.
Yes. So yes, I have been in that place. So I have applied mechanisms such as prayer. You pray to God every day. Lord, take it away, stop this pain. Another way of coping is by laughing at your pain.
Oh, when you turn it into a joking subject?
Turn it into a joking subject, and it's also a mechanism that I use. I laugh at my pain. And it's also very therapeutic when you tell somebody a foolish story of the things that you have done for love, and you laugh about it, and it is silly, and you make it very comical. Some comedians do this really perfectly. They laugh at their pain and their suffering. Another way is you watch memes, you look at memes. You look at them, they are funny. They're not funny, but they're funny. You understand?
Moment, they take away the pain.
Exactly. But for me, the one thing and that has stuck to me is I saw a tweet, and this is after I lost my dad. And the tweet said, now that they are gone, what are you going to do with the space they no longer occupy?
Deep.
It was very deep. It was very profound. And I said to myself, I am going to continue celebrating this person. I'm going to continue loving through this person because it's what they would want me to do. So I didn't allow my pain to turn into suffering. I turned it into a positive thing. And it's also good to talk about things, because at the end of the day, you can't change a reality. You cannot change the fact you will never be the Queen of England. It hurts. It's tragic. But
it happens.
It happens. So find a way with dealing to it, but do not drift towards self-harming habits as a coping mechanism. Some people resort to drugs, some people resort to alcohol, some resort to being promiscuous. After having a breakup, now you're going to go and give everybody in Kampala. Don't do that.
Yes.
Well, for me, I have had two instances where I've had to, you know, take
Apply.
myself through radical acceptance. One of them was when my dad passed. I remember it was so hard for me to take it in. Well, at first it was so like, I'm like, why is this happening? But I remember a few days after that, I literally blamed everything, every action of mine on the fact that my father passed. And I realized, until a friend of mine told me, I was like, Wase, you know, you're not going to blame your bad actions or your bad behavior on your dad passing. I mean, I felt that at this moment, I could do anything that I wanted to do because I was going through pain. I didn't mind what every other person feels in my circle until my friend sat me down and told me, you see, this is something that you cannot change. This is something that you're probably going to live with for the rest of your life, yes?
Yeah.
That it's better that you actually accept it now so that you find a way forward than you know, doing all these bad things and blaming it on the fact that your dad passed. So that was my first stage of acceptance of, you know what, I won't have this person back in my life. I, you know, gave my life back to Christ, went to church and prayed. And trust me, it's been better.
Yeah.
And then the other one, it was a breakup. And I remember I shared with you some time back and I told you that sometimes you're so much in love with someone. Like you actually love each other so bad that you feel you can't live without each other, but yet you know deep down, yes,
Siobhan has
deep
never
down,
experienced that kind
deep
of
down,
love.
you know you're bad for each other. You know that it will never work, but you wake
Yes.
up every day, you want to make it work. You know you're fighting every other. You know for sure that this is a relationship that will never work
Yes.
out, but you still keep on pushing. You still keep fighting with the fact that it will never work out. So what I did again, sat down, looked through everything, you know, in this relationship, all the bad things, all the good things, put them on a weighing scale, and I'm like, you know what, it doesn't matter how much we push this relationship, it will never work out. I went through my stage of acceptance, you know, I left all the denial bit of it, and I said, you know what, I will live with this. And eventually after some time I healed. So yes, radical acceptance is a good thing, because you just help yourself not to prolong your suffering.
Yes.
Yes, accept your pain, live within your pain. Also, just one thing that I love to talk about this is some people want to run away from their pain.
Yes.
That's why they'll resort to drugs. That's why they'll resort, you know, to hanging out every other night.
Or even
But this
suicide.
yes, but you're only prolonging your suffering. Here's the thing. You are going out, you're drinking yourself silly, and then tomorrow you're having an aftermath of all these thoughts and all this depression. So it's high time you actually accept what is in the moment and know that if you can't change a thing about it, you will have to live with it.
Siobhan?
My thoughts about radical acceptance. First of all, radical acceptance alone is a remedy when it comes to treating mental health illnesses. A study did showcase that people who go through mental illnesses and are advised to radically accept that they cannot change certain situations live longer and tend to have less episodes of either PTSD or depression or anxiety, name it. Now me, when it comes to radical acceptance, when I was growing up, I had issues with my self-esteem. Because, you know, I was bullied about the way I looked, my legs, and then, you know, everyone is just throwing comments, and then my lips. But I don't think it was a radical acceptance for me. I just learned to be comfortable in my skin. However, when it comes to radical acceptance, I did accept that there are certain things I cannot expect people to treat me the way I want to be treated. So what I have to do is excuse myself out of that situation. Now, I relate with you when in terms of a relationship. I've also been in a relationship that I knew from the word go, like all the flags were showing red, but me, all I saw was green. Like everything was just green and a beautiful thing. But I learned to accept that, you know what, at the end of the day, you're not going to force him to love you. You're not going to force your friends or a group of friends to treat you the way you want to be treated, because there's so much you can do. The best you can do is to excuse yourself out of a situation. So for me, over time and the few years that I have lived on earth so far, I have learned to accept that there are just certain things I cannot change. Now, I'm not one to give up. So usually I'll go ahead and push and, you know, make things try to work out, even if it's a job, it's at home. One will call it tying yourself on someone, but like I'm trying to make it work. But then there are times when I'll pull myself out of the equation, sit back and relax, because my peace of mind is way more important than any other thing.
Well, that's nice, but just a disclaimer, of course, we say not bullying in whatever degree. Yes, we stand against that outrightly. But now for me, when it comes to radical acceptance, I think I've struggled with applying it in my life. Yeah, radical acceptance is easy on paper. Like, accept it, it's just what it is, move on. But in practice, it's something that could even take you, I think, like a lifetime to get even a hold of. Radical acceptance has been hard for me because I'm someone who experiences intense emotions. Like, I want to find out why. I want the answers. Why, when, where, like why am I where I am in the moment. So for me, radical acceptance has been very hard, but it's something that you slowly have to work on as you deal with your emotions, and just finally come to understand it as it is and leave it just the way it is there. But the question I wanted to ask you, ladies, is what are some of the signs of lack of acceptance that you've maybe witnessed among your friends, or even you yourself as a person?
People are just not ready to move on. I think it's just plain and simple. When somebody just keeps on insisting on, say, a relationship, or insisting on grieving, or insisting on, crying over being fired from their job, whatever the case may be, it's just that person is doing their time. They're still in that moment, and there are different stages to grief. All right, there's denial, there's now where you start blaming everybody else, then there's later acceptance. Later on, like that is like the last stage. Yeah. You literally go through all the emotions until you get there. For me, I think it's just that people are just not yet ready. They're still dealing with it. They're still dealing with the shock of that happening to them. And for me, whenever my friends say are suffering in a relationship, or are suffering to move on from whatever situation it is, you can't tell somebody move on. It's not as easy as that. Everybody has their due process. And everybody who is in a situation, especially when you're struggling to move out of it, is probably your first time in that experience. Because if you are experiencing a second time, I mean, after getting heartbroken like 5 times, you're like, you know what?
Why should the second heartbreak be?
I didn't die the first time. I will not die on the 5th one. All right? You keep it pushing, because, like they have said, with the older you get, the wiser you become. With age comes maturity. You understand? So for everybody who is struggling to move on, they're probably experiencing that pain for the first time. So the most you can do is just allow that person go through it. And just, monitor and check up on them and make sure they don't, because there's a very thin line between staying sane and just drifting off into a very sunken place where they now start self-harming, they start, drinking, doing drugs, or even could potentially commit suicide. That is why I keep insisting therapy is very important. And even when you talk about your problems, it's important to talk to people who are not judgmental. Talk to people who are not going to judge you, and people who are just going to listen, have a laugh, cry with you, or let you cry, or let you vent, or lament, or whatever the case may be. Avoid people who say, you're not tired. Move on, or as in like give it a rest. No, those are people you need to stay away from.
You need to stay away from.
You need to allow people to keep on, just go at it.
Yes. Just a few examples. Mine had already actually mentioned mine. That was when I kept on pushing this relationship and knowing that it was never going to work out, because our goals, our ambitions, everything were never aligning. We're always at loggerheads. But you feel like you love this person, and then I remember I just sat down and I'm like, do I actually love this person? If I am to put everything that I want on table in this person, what ideally I would want them to be to me, are they this person? And I realized they're not. So I'm like, this may not actually be love, it's infatuation. But I was going through the exact maybe witchcraft. Yes. So but then the other one, it may not be about me, but it can be about other people. I mean, you find people in bars every other day. I mean, you're going through a breakup. It could be anything, could be at work, whatever it is, any problem that you're going through, you're resorting to go to the bar. And the reason is because you don't want to feel your emotions. You don't want to feel the pain. You don't want to even accept the fact that you may not be able to change the situation. So your coping mechanism here, you resort to, going smoking, going drinking in the bar, today, the other day, because you don't want to feel those emotions. But yet again, the one step to actually getting this whole radical acceptance, and also to you healing and moving on with life, especially in cases where you can't change the situation, is sitting back, feeling those emotions. If you are to cry yourself to sleep, please do it. It helps. Cry yourself to sleep. Accept the fact that you can't feel those emotions. They go a long way in helping you actually eventually reaching the point of acceptance and moving on with your life. For me, definitely that's what I would say.
There is something I want to highlight about radical acceptance. I don't know if if any of you had thought about it, and it's an aspect that Yes, while radical acceptance is something that we should be doing, whereby you make peace with a certain situation, I think some people have actually gone ahead to blow it out of proportion, because I've met people who come across challenges and they're like, me, I've accepted it, I cannot handle it, I cannot do it, it's not my kind of thing, Uganda olemwa, and they sit back. That also is not a good thing, because there are people who have taken radical acceptance in a bad way. What do I mean? Like, they're just so comfortable, they do not want to be disturbed, they do not want to be put under pressure, they do not want to be put under stress. Also, when you have been through several instances where your heart has been broken, or when you have been disappointed, and you know someone tells you to move on, and then you do, and then you make peace with that situation, when you get into the next relationship and the person does the same thing, you'll be like, I'm not surprised. I saw that coming. You get like, I feel like that kind of way of living is also toxic and detrimental in a way when we are talking about radical acceptance, because it shouldn't be a reason as to why you're not achieving your goals, or being a risk taker in a way. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Like, I feel like so many people have hidden behind the aspect of, I've made peace with the fact that I'll never have a job. I've made peace with the fact that, you know, I'll never be the best thing that ever. And I just think that
because they don't want to
live.
feel the pain and the suffering that comes with that.
Some
so they
it's
try
that,
to run away from
some
it.
it's that, some it's staying in your comfort zone.
I don't think so, because I think people like that have not accepted and truly
And
understood
truly,
the lesson in it. Because when you go on to say, okay, I've had my heart broken, for instance, and I'm going to expect every other man or every other woman that comes into my life to break my heart, then you have not learned. Because with radical acceptance, you understand that particular situation, and you don't transfer your insecurity or the result or consequence of that situation onto the next one. So that
like
person,
a past kind of
so that person has not accepted. That person is dealing with trauma, and they're putting up walls. Because practicing radical acceptance means you're letting go of judgment, you're letting go of acceptance, and you are finding peace in that moment.
In that moment.
I'm finding peace. He doesn't love me anymore. It is okay. But because he doesn't love me doesn't mean I won't find love again. Or I got fired. It's okay. Doesn't mean I will not go on to, you know, achieve even greater success.
Yes. Well, now the ladies did share their examples of, you know, lack of acceptance. But here are some of the thought patterns and the actual thoughts that signal you might need to practice radical acceptance. Number one, when you find yourself saying, I cannot deal with this is not fair, things shouldn't be like this, I can't believe this is happening, it is not right, things should be different, why is this happening to me, why is this happening now, this is horrible, why did this happen to me, what did I do to deserve this, everything is working against me, I can never catch a break, bad things always happen to me, nobody else has to deal with this except me, I wish things were different, I can't accept this happened, I'm never going to feel okay about this, and people shouldn't act the way they do. You know, that part of
phrases.
Yeah. Now I want to stick on, you know, the phrase that would occasionally come into your mind of people shouldn't act the way they do. Do we think forgiveness is necessary? Does it play an important part in radical acceptance?
It does. It absolutely.
Or at a certain point, you just have to say, you know, even if I don't forgive you, I'm just going to accept it the way it is and I move on.
If you refuse to forgive somebody, that means you have not learned the lesson in that moment. Because you have not been enlightened, because you have not found that peace. You may think that you have found peace by saying, I'm not going to forgive you, I'm moving your dead to me, blah, 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 blah. But it's going to manifest in every action that you do later on. And you're going to find yourself making somebody pay for that person's actions. So it's very important to come face to face with your traumas, your hurt, your loss, your grief, all of that. It's very important. That is the only way you can find peace. And also being aware that this is what my trauma is. Say this cup. I'm aware of this cup being here, but I'm not going to let the fact that it is right there bother me, or stop me from living a fulfilling life, or stop me from going on and giving the same love and even more to the next person, or the same commitment and hard work to the next job, whatever the situation may be. It's not going to stop me from remarrying, even though I lost my spouse. You understand? So it's radical. You know that it is right there. I see you. Some people actually, some psychologists and some therapists have gone on to advise people to give your trauma a name. So for instance, you could call your trauma
John.
John. And like, why did you think of John?
Yes, John
Yes.
Your trauma is the easiest name.
Yes. Your trauma could be John. It could be a fear of heartbreak in the next relationship. Like, John, I see you, but not today. Banange John in the car. John Dayo, not today. Like, talk to it, visualize it, and tell it that you are not going to control me. That is what acceptance is. You enjoy the experience without any bias, without any judgment, without any expectation.
Okay,
Yeah, what would say? What would say?
In a few seconds.
The issue about forgiveness is forgiveness, first of all, it's a process. It's not something that happens over time. For example, if I caught this cup and I gave it to Aggie, and I caught the cup that Sarah has and I gave it to Aggie, and I caught another cup, would you be able to hold the third cup? That is what forgiveness is. If you do not let go, most times you will not receive. And the funny thing about forgiveness, and when you talk about radical acceptance, is that many times the person who has offended us doesn't even know. You're pulling your mouth, you're putting your mood swings, you have stress, but the other person has no idea. So how about you forgive them? Accept that, hey, guess what? You know, some people do not even turn out the way you expect them to, and that is okay. Move on with your life. It doesn't have to be an issue of, wasn't I good enough? Why is everything happening to me? And I like that you read out your phrases, because very many times those phrases have actually popped up in my mind. And that is an eye-opener for me to actually realize that radical acceptance is something that I need to constantly practice in my life.
What I would say about this is forgiveness is you extending kindness to someone else, because you can choose not to forgive them at the end. I mean, they could apologize and you choose not to. And radical acceptance is extending kindness to yourself. That even in the event when the person who has offended you hasn't asked for your forgiveness, you will forgive them and forgive yourself in that forgive the situation that has happened, so that you as a person, you have peace of mind. Because like I said, if they do not ask for forgiveness, are you going to live in pain? Are you going to hold these grudges for the rest of your life?
Absolutely not. So well.
Something small. Those phrases that you say, why is this happening to me? Why me? Blah, 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 and all that stuff. I remember we had a therapist, a counselor on the show here. I forget her name. I apologize. But then she went on to tell us that remove, or rather replace, the negative questions in your head with positive ones, or with ones that are going to provoke you to find solutions to them. So instead of asking yourself, why is this happening to me? Ask yourself, why am I allowing this to happen to me? So because with storms, is two things could happen. You could either sit in that storm and wait for it to pass, or you can go through the storm and find your sunlight. So ask yourself, what can I do to make this situation better? As opposed to saying, God yancha, you're no longer picking up my calls.
Well, if you are unable to solve a problem or even change your perspective on a certain something, then maybe it's time for you to actually practice radical acceptance. And here are some of the ways. Number one, watch your thoughts for signs of not accepting. Remind yourself that reality can be changed. Practice a feeling of acceptance through relaxation strategies and self-talk, just like Sarah did explain, like, you know, get the negativity out of your system, start practicing a lot of positivity. So the other thing is, you know, be aware of how you're feeling in your body, accept that life can be worthwhile even when experiencing pain. You know, your life does not stop just because, you know, you're experiencing pain from just life goes on.
Yeah, it goes on at the end of the day. So you also have to accept the emotions that you feel when thinking about certain events. Also, you also have to make a plan of action of what you will do. How are you, you know, going to get around this? How are you going to get better from this? Some of the other ways you can practice radical acceptance is, you know, you have to understand what is within your control and outside your control, as well as practicing mindfulness and living in the present. Also, you have to find ways to ground yourself or calm yourself down. There's so many ways we could share how to, you know, practice radical acceptance, but I'm going to ask the ladies just for their parting shots in just a few minutes, a few seconds, 15 seconds if necessary, just, you know, your final for me
remarks.
Is that if you're watching us today and you're feeling overwhelmed, unplug. Whether you're a mom, a husband, a wife, you're at work and you just cannot go on anymore, you're feeling so overwhelmed, unplug, literally unplug. Take that nap, take a walk, take a drive, even get into a taxi and just go to the next district, turn your phone off, whatever you need, unplug and reset. I mean, all our TVs work when we switch them off and turn them on. So you also switch off.
Oh my goodness. For me, what I would say is learn to accept pain and feel those emotions, because the moment you continue running away from them, it's like you're prolonging your pain at the end of the day. You might run away from them today by taking tequila shots. I'm not saying don't take tequila shots. Please go ahead. If it can help you, yes. But what I'm saying is feel those emotions. If you have to sit alone and cry about it, cry about it. If you have friends that you can, talk to about it and you cry about it together, do it. Feel those emotions. As you feel them, you're letting go. That is one,
Absolutely.
Mine will be, regardless of what you go through or regardless of how people treat you, do not blame yourself for the way you were treated. Also remember that you're loved at home. If you have family, especially family. When I say family, I mean mother, father, siblings, direct family. You have family that loves you. So you could
absolutely. Well, you had it from the ladies. What I would have to say is that, allow yourself to let go of the need to control situations. Sometimes things are not going to be within your control, so accept that and use your 5 senses to, remind yourself in the moment that you need to keep it together at the end of the day. Well, that's what we had for you on our views today. My name is Priva Elibaz. Good morning.
Well, I hope you had a lovely, lovely, lovely time with us on the show today. I thoroughly enjoyed today's show. I'm feeling rejuvenated. I'm feeling very happy. I'm feeling blessed. And I hope you are too. If you're feeling overwhelmed like the ladies and I said, please unplug. Unplug. All our phones work after we turn them off and turn them back on again, and you may need to reboot your system today. But go on out there, be great today, be kind, follow SOPs, and just keep spreading love. Until tomorrow, same time, same place, from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Be good and keep watching CTV.